Spanky's Quest is a game that needs no introduction. Sitting on the top shelf of the Video Game Hall of Fame, the impact it made on video gaming as a whole has permanently burned Spanky's heart-wrenching adventure into all of our brains. But just in case you haven't heard of this household name, I'll run you through the details. Spanky's Quest released on the Game Boy and Super Nintendo in 1991 and didn't cause much of a splash in the ocean of blockbuster titles. I don't remember how I originally ended up with my copy of the game, but it certainly wasn't due to anything more than random chance. Spanky's Quest is unique. It's technically an action platformer with puzzle elements, but doesn't fully commit to any of these genres. You play as Spanky the monkey. Yes, you heard me correctly. Who gets trapped inside of a witch's castle in the middle of a forest, who has an army of evil fruit who can only be killed by sports balls or something. Pretty generic and uncreative. The story is basically non-existent and completely unexplained, but somehow, someway maintains a cute little bit of charm. Even if you don't know what's going on, it doesn't really matter. After some scholarly research, I learned that Spanky is trapped inside the castle of an evil witch named Morticia. Morticia has somehow brought cans of fruit to life for no apparent reason, and this doesn't fly with our hero, who was obviously really hungry for canned fruit. It's time to kill some fruit with baseballs and discover if Spanky's Quest for the Super Nintendo is a play or nay. Combat in Spanky's Quest is weird, but surprisingly fun. You're armed with a magic bubble that Morticia dropped that changes colors as it grows with each bounce on your head. You can pop this bubble at any time, and depending on the size and color, it pops into various types of sports balls. An unpopped bubble only stuns enemies, while all of the sports balls kill the fruit monsters. Each type of ball has a different method of literally raining death upon your foes, and are helpful in varying situations. Your base attack from a blue bubble is a single small baseball, which is good for a quick snipe or a desperate option. With one bounce on your head, the ball turns green and will pop into a short snake of soccer balls, which arcs down and is much easier to land than the baseball. Another bounce and the ball grows larger and turns yellow and will pop into a volleyball. If the volleyball makes contact with an enemy, it multiplies and spins in a single area, racking up huge damage on bosses and destroying any enemies in the area. With one more bounce, the ball reaches the maximum upgrade, turning red and exploding into a wide umbrella of huge basketballs, which, as everyone knows, is a nightmare for living fruit. This move is a great way to clear a room without having to aim much, but requires the time to bounce the ball a few times to set up. Spanky's Quest is divided up into 5 bright neon worlds, each with 10 stages, a boss battle, and a few secret bonus stages. In the Game Boy version, you cleared each stage by killing all the enemies, but in the Super Nintendo version you have to find the required number of keys to unlock the exit door. These keys can be found laying around the stage or picked up by the fruit monsters, who you then have to kill to reclaim the stolen key. Considering you have unlimited uses of your magic balls, at least while Spanky's young, each stage basically turns into a fruit slaughter instead of needing to use much strategy to pinpoint each key's location. Just kill everything and pick up the scraps. The different types of enemies all behave pretty similarly, but have some unique movement types that can make them more dangerous. Some types of fruits just mindlessly walk back and forth, while some of them move much faster or can move up or down floors. Any contact with an enemy kills you, and it can be a little unforgiving. Sometimes enemies will fall out of nowhere and kill you, or fall out of nowhere and kill you, or fall down from out of nowhere and kill you. This problem gets more and more annoying as you get further into the game, and takes a lot of caution and trial and error to get past. Enemies typically only hurt you if they touch you, but there are a few switch traps that the fruit monsters can use to cause additional headaches. Most of them are pretty uncreative and easy to avoid, like big weights that smash down on an area, or faces that spit fire in a straight line, but one of them is on another level of annoying. These Firebird traps shoot little flaming birds that home in on you and go through all terrain. They are the absolute biggest pains in the game, but thankfully don't appear too often. These traps only work if a monster is actively manning the switch, and killing the operator turns off the trap. A neat twist to this mechanic is that Spanky can control the switch himself to turn the tables, and he even gets his own little murderous blue Firebird. Stage design is solid, and the stages keep getting larger and harder the further you get in. Stages have moving platforms, little booster pads that I would totally use in real life, and even cannons to blast you back and forth. While none of these are terribly creative, the fact that enemies can use them adds a little more depth, though once you've died 10 times from an apple nailing you from a cannon, you might disagree. There's also a primitive but cute item system revolving around hats that Spanky can wear. There are a total of 5 different hats that you can find that serve as power-ups for the stage you grab them on. There's a winged hat that makes you run quickly and prevents you from slipping on ice or other types of slippery floors. Then a spiked hat which absorbs 1 hit from a fruit monster and kills the enemy you touch. A top hat that makes you look like a boss, and also powers up your bubbles to the max level with a single bounce. A straw hat which lets you glide down slowly and go whee! And lastly, a baseball cap, which works as a kind of magnet to keep the bubbles closer to your head and making it easier to keep them balanced. These hats are neat additions, but only show up a few times each and disappear at the end of the stage. They aren't a significant enough part of the game to end up mattering very much, which seems like a missed opportunity. If you're thorough, or are like me and just have to check every inch of everything in a game, you can sometimes find golden doors that lead to bonus stages. They're hidden behind seemingly normal walls and make the stages worth exploring a little bit more. All the bonus stages use the same bland mechanic of bouncing a giant bubble on your head, and you're rewarded with useless points or an extra life depending on how well you do. At the end of each world is a boss battle, and they're surprisingly creative compared to the normal enemies. Each boss is a different big colorful fruit overlord, and all the battles are pretty unique from each other. The sprites they use have tons of character, and the battles are fun. Bosses take a lot of hits to kill, and you're rewarded for clever ball usage that you can't really get out of killing the one-hit regular enemies. There's this sound effect that plays when you hit a boss that gets spammed when you catch them with a big hit, and it is so satisfying to hear. I'll never spoil the final boss of the game, but will say that the final boss of Spanky's Quest is definitely the hardest one in the game, and is a suitable ending to the ladder of boss battles. Without a doubt, the selling point for Spanky's Quest is the music. It's got a wonderful, chill, jazzy vibe that just meshes perfectly with the visuals and gameplay. It adds so much personality to the game that it nearly defines the game by itself. I tried playing it for a few minutes with the game muted, and it just doesn't begin to feel the same. Each world has its own track, as well as a bonus stage theme and boss theme. It might not sound like a lot of variety, but with the quick pace of the game, you won't get tired of any of the songs. Spanky's Quest isn't exactly what I'd call a hidden gem, but is an hour or 2 long adventure that presents some chill tunes and a good time. It certainly deserves more attention than it received, and is a solid choice if you want something casual to fill a few-hour gap. Picking up a copy online is about $20, or you can always just play it on a you-know-what. Since the gameplay is simple and button layout is minimalistic, it doesn't really detract from the game to play it on something besides a Super Nintendo controller. Load it up on your phone or PC and take a chill night off by killing some fruit with baseballs. Thanks for watching this episode. I'll be revisiting a mixture of old classics and some lesser-known standouts to determine if they're still worth playing these days. If you liked this video, please throw me a like and subscribe, and click the bell to see when I release new videos. Some upcoming games I'll be covering are Secret of Evermore, Goof Troop, Super Ninja Bros, Illusion of Gaia, and many more. Your support goes a long way in the creation of these videos. My name's Ben Madsen, and I'll see you on the next episode of Play or Nay.